Onana cannot keep for us next season. No.
Oh hell no! That's hell no!
Striker, midfielder, or goalkeeper. Where should Manchester United go next? Because I see all three arguments. We need a striker, which makes sense, right? We need to score goals. A striker gets you goals. A striker makes sense. But I still understand people that say we need a midfielder because we can't even pass out from the back. So how do we get the ball into our forward players like Cunha, like Mbeumo? I understand. If you watch the preseason game, I'm not trying to say I'm going to base my whole whatever on a preseason game, but if you watch the preseason game and you also watch last season, you notice we also had a major issue in our midfield. So people that say we should buy a midfielder, and people that say a keeper, so I totally get, because you get to the striker, right, and your striker scores a goal, you're winning 1-0, and then Onana lets one in, 1-1, and he does it again, 2-1, and then he carries the ball and throws inside the net, 3-1, and you're screwed. So striker, midfielder, or goalkeeper, where would you go next? Because obviously Mbeumo is done, but looking forward, I'm very, very interested to see where Manchester United pivot to next, because let's be honest, we need all three. I understand the fact that we want to pick like who should we buy. If everything was equal, right, if we're a good team, we should be getting all three players, but like we know we're probably not even going to be able to get, I think at most we get two. So which combination would you go for? Would you go for a goalkeeper and a midfielder and stick with what we have up front, or will you go with a striker and maybe a goalkeeper and forgo the midfield? So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Before we get into that, welcome back, Jeffrey again, the co-host of the Beyond 90 Minute podcast. Welcome back to the channel, and yeah, I appreciate the love you guys showed at the last video we posted last week. I think the Chelsea video got like 1,000 views, 1.2k I think. It isn't a lot, but like we're a small channel, and like views like that really help us. So I appreciate you guys for that. So if you guys can drop a like, subscribe, it's really helpful. So let's get into it. If any of you watched that preseason game against Leeds, 2 hours of my life I could never get back. It was boring. It was boring as hell. Obviously, it's very, very exciting to see Manchester United play again after like months. But watching that game just reminded me of the same issue we had last season, where for how many years we've had the issue for years. We can't pass out from the back. We can't get the ball from the defense into the midfield, into the forward line. We can't do it. And what happens is you see the keeper just launching ball forward, just praying that Cunha gets the ball, praying that Bruno gets the ball, praying that Ahmad gets the ball, and then something happens. We don't have patterns of out from the back. We don't have our passing triangles. We don't have how we get our wing backs involved. And watching that game again just made me think that midfield is going to be a problem next season. A massive problem. Massive problem. And the question comes again that should we have taken that £100 million for Bruno? I don't even want to make this video about that, but it didn't occur to me one day that does it like ever like occur to any of you guys that if we had taken that £100 million for Bruno, which honestly speaking, I believe that if we had said okay, let's do a deal, we could have gotten that deal to like 120, but like let's say 100, we could have gotten Baliba and the keeper. Just let that sink in for a bit. But the point I'm trying to make is, if indeed you choose to keep Bruno in the midfield, please do not put Casemiro beside him, because that's going to be an absolute disgrace. Do not even try it. Casemiro is too slow to play alongside Bruno in the midfield. I'm trying against Leeds, who are newly promoted side. So what happens when you play Chelsea with Caicedo, with Enzo, with Palmer? What happens when you play Liverpool with Verts, with Gravenberch, with McAllister, with Szoboszlai? What happens when you play Man City with Rodri and Reinders? Let's just show off my ball knowledge for a bit. But the point I'm trying to make is that midfield is not going to work. But I also see the point that Onana cannot be in goal as well. So the more you think about it, every single position needs to be addressed. Obi started up front that day. He's just 17 years of age. Højlund is basically useless. None of them can start up front. Xerxes is good, but like with Xerxes, there's obviously this argument where isn't Xerxes better as a 10? Because obviously you see how Xerxes picks up the ball, how he can dribble, how he can pass. He makes more sense as a 10. So if Xerxes off the bench as a 10, I wouldn't be opposed to that. So the way I look at it now is, we know we need to address those three positions. But just spilled water on myself. But which one should we go for first? For me, before watching that Leeds game, I'm not even going to lie. I was going to say a striker, 100% get Sesko in, and then from there we can have a front three of Cunha and Burma, Sesko, and I'm ready to go. But after watching that game, we need a midfielder, man. We need a midfielder because I was just playing the combinations in my head. Obviously, Bruno and Casemiro doesn't work, right? Bruno and Ugarte, I don't know if it works, but probably not, just because with the way Bruno goes forward, I don't think Ugarte can handle that whole place by himself. And plus, Ugarte is impress resistant. Ugarte cannot go and collect the ball from the back foot and pass it out. So no, Bruno and Menu is interesting, but do you really want to try that? Like, you're risking a lot defensively. And the one that actually seemed to work in that game was Ugarte and Menu, but we all know that there's no situation where Bruno is going to bench. So what happens then? And I made this point last year. So I made this point last season during the summer when people were saying she didn't sell Bruno. That I don't think people understand that Bruno and Menu cannot be in the same team. It's very, very sad to hear, but we have two number 10s, right? And then we have people that are supposed to be number 6. Bruno has one of those spots as in number 8, and we have a number 6. So my question is, if we know that you can't play Bruno and Menu in there, you have to play Bruno and someone else. Hopefully you bring in a defensive midfielder there. So where does Menu play? And that's exactly what me and many people were trying to tell you, that not selling Bruno might have been one of our biggest mistakes because Menu doesn't have his spot in the team. But let's be honest, we need a midfielder that can carry the ball. Baliba would have been perfect, but the fact that Baliba is impossible, who can we go for that's realistic? I think I've seen Douglas Luiz, which is interesting. Obviously, Human as Sporting is the dream for everybody, but drop in the comments, who do you guys want to buy? And the goalkeeper situation is too. I won't even lie, I've reached the point where if it's 2, I'd go goalkeeper and midfielder over a striker. And I know it sounds weird, I get it, but I'd rather play Cunha as a striker and maybe play Bruno in number 10 and maybe play Menu in the midfield with somebody else, because Onana cannot keep for us next season. No. Let's not even try that next season. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you guys think. Who should Manchester United buy next? I'll see you guys on the next one.